Hello and welcome to Sky247.net presents Not Just Cricket. Hope all of you are doing very, very well. I have two wonderful guests with me, Niall and Mohammed Azruddin. Thank you so much for joining all three of us today, ladies and gents. And it's going to be a very interesting game today. Mumbai taking on Kolkata. As we know, Mumbai haven't had the wins that they need, so they will be probably struggling a little bit today entering. I mean, not struggling, but we have to see what their thought process would be. Kolkata slightly more confident because they've had to win. So let's just talk about Mumbai. Let's just, address the elephant in the room, shall we, Niall? And let's talk about Mumbai and, like I said, their thought process, because it's tough. There's been quite a lot of changes on both sides of the team.
Well, Mumbai have had a very difficult start. Their bowling has let them down massively. Their batting hasn't been too bad. I think they've got batters who are in a bit of form. Saying that, some of their overseas players haven't really stepped up yet. We're looking around the other franchises. You're seeing the likes of Joss Butler for Rajasthan, for example, absolutely dominating, and that's what you want from your overseas players. From Mumbai, they haven't done that yet. You look at like Daniel Sams. For me, he's actually more of a batter now than his bowling. His bowling looks like he's a liability. Tyrell Mills, he's got pace. He hasn't probably hit top gear yet, although he's bowled quite nicely. They may shake up their bowling attack, but it's Mumbai as a general just haven't clicked. Similar to Chennai, we've spoken a lot about Chennai, just have not played good cricket. And when you start losing back-to-back games, every game becomes that little bit more difficult. So I don't think it's panic stations just yet. Knowing Mailajai Warner as I do, he's a fairly calm guy. But in saying that, when you're playing for a franchise as big and as illustrious as Mumbai, you're expected to win. Every game you take the pitch, you're expected to win. So there will be outside pressures. And for some of the Indian players and the overseas, it's very difficult not to let that external pressure, the external chit-chat, whether that's coming from the owners, because we know the Mumbai owners like to be hands-on. They like to have their say. So it's going to be very difficult to block that out. And this is another difficult game for Mumbai. It really will be.
Absolutely. Azaji, also with Mumbai, they haven't got any points on the table, though it's definitely crunch time for them. So what would you suggest?
नहीं बिल्कुल देखिए पहले ये तो क्रंच टाइम है बिकॉज ऐसा कभी हुआ नहीं कि तीन जितने भी गेम खेले वो पूरे गेम हार चुके हैं तो मैं समझता हूँ कि इनकी जो मेरे ख्याल में जो फ्रेंचाइज को जो सिलेक्शन हुआ है जहाँ पे आपने देखे कि उन लोगों ने बॉलर्स उतने ज़्यादा बॉलर्स लिए नहीं क्योंकि ओवर डिपेंडेंट है बुमराह पे अगर आप बुमराह अगर उस दिन जिस दिन नहीं चलेंगे तो जितने भी उनके बॉलर्स है उतने एक्सपीरियंस बॉलर्स नहीं है जैसा कि उन्होंने कुणाल पांड्या और कुणाल पांड्या ब्रदर्स को जो हार्दिक को दोनों को जब रिलीज कर दिए तो उनकी टीम एक्चुअली अगर आप देखेंगे तो बॉलिंग बहुत डिप्लीटेड है बैटिंग में फिर भी बहुत अच्छे बैटिंग फिर भी अच्छा कर सकती है बट लेकिन जहां तक मैं सोचता हूँ कि उनके लिए ये बहुत क्रंच मैच है अगर यहाँ से अगर ये मैच हारेंगे तो मैं समझता हूँ उनको थोड़ा सा आगे आने के लिए अगर उनका कॉन्फिडेंस लो होगा और बहुत डिफिकल्ट होगा बट लेकिन ये भी कहना चाहूंगा कि केकेआर जो कोलकाता की जो टीम है वो बहुत मेरे ख्याल में अच्छा खेली और अच्छा खेल रहे उनकी टीम वेल बैलेंस्ड है और मुझे लगता है कि मुंबई के लिए ये मैच बहुत टफ होगा इतना आसान नहीं होगा जीतना
Bilkul. Niall, I think Kolkata will probably be slightly more confident because they potentially might have Pat Cummins in the team, and also they've just won against Punjab. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Kolkata are playing nicely. I said a couple of days ago they're just playing pretty solid cricket. You take out Andre Russell's amazing innings a couple of days ago. They've just played pretty solid cricket. Hasn't been overly exciting at times. Hasn't been overly helter skelter. It's just been very, very done the basics well. Really, they bowl well, they fielded well. Actually, not really what you would epitomize a Brendan McCullum team. You think Brendan McCullum very outgoing batter, swashbuckling batter. Out of the box kind of thinking captain, but they just played a pretty solid game. That's not doing them a disservice because they've got a couple of wins on the board, so they'll be pretty happy. I think Pat Cummins is back; he's available, and for me, he must play. You got to play Pat Cummins. I know they signed him for millions last year. He didn't actually do very well. When you pay $2 million for a player, you expect a bit more. There was a bit of a kind of conversation going around the tournament last year that Pat Cummins was playing better as a batter than he was a bowler. But I think when you got Pat Cummins available, you've got to pick him. So that's a massive confidence booster for Kolkata, and I think they'll be fancying their chances. Although the record against Mumbai historically isn't very good.
Yep. As a captain, how would you deal with somebody like an Andre Russell when he's going full steam ahead? What would you be telling your boys? कि अब क्या कर सकते हैं, अभी ये तो है ही ऐसा. So what would your thought process be?
वेल देखिए, एंड्रे रसेल के बारे में सबको पता है उन्होंने कैसी बैटिंग करते हो, कैसा उनका जो स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट्स क्या है. मोस्टली अगर उनको ज्यादातर अगर आप उनकी बॉडी में अगर डालेंगे बॉल, अगर बॉडी में आते रहेगा तो शॉर्ट पिच बॉल करेंगे, तो मैं समझता हूँ उनको खेलना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. क्योंकि आप बहुत से प्लेयर, इवन आप कैरन पोलार्ड को भी देखिए, लेटली क्रिस गेल को भी, जो लोग आगे जो शॉर्ट बॉल करते थे वो बिल्कुल उनको पसंद नहीं आता था. तो मैं समझता हूँ कि आंड्रे रसेल को भी जब बाउंस करते हैं, उनकी बॉडी में जब डालते हैं तो उनको बहुत दिक्कत होती है. तो मैं समझता हूँ कि ये मैच में अगर बुमराह को, अगर कहीं वो जल्दी बैटिंग को आए, तो मैं समझता हूँ कि बुमराह को इमीडिएटली लाना चाहिए और उनको बॉडी पे डालना चाहिए. उनकी विकेट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर कहीं वो अगर ज्यादा रुक गए विकेट पे तो फिर उनको रोकना मुश्किल होगा, चाहे आप शॉट डालो या कुछ डालो. पहले उनको अगर शॉट डालेंगे तो कोई भी प्लेयर, बहुत कम ऐसे प्लेयर्स है जो शॉर्ट बॉल को कंफर्टेबल खेलते हैं. स्पेशली T20 में, और क्योंकि आपके पीछे भी फील्डर रहता है, आप हुक करेंगे आउट होने के ज्यादा चांसेस रहते हैं. तो मैं समझता हूँ कि उनको ज्यादा ऊपर बॉलिंग नहीं करना चाहिए, उनको थोड़ा सा शॉर्ट बॉलिंग करना चाहिए.
Okay. Now, a little question for you. As a wicket keeper, would you try and, sledge Russell? Like, would you?
I don't think there's any point sledging Dre Russ. He's just too cool. He's not going to care what a little chirpy wicketkeeper says behind the stumps. I've chirped many batters in my time and have had a lot of success chirping batters, but sometimes it comes back to bite you. And I just wouldn't. Not Dre Russ. Not the way. He's hit 11 sixes already. But one area that bowlers go back the last 2-3 years, and I'm talking international cricket, they try to focus when they bowl to Andre Russell. They used to cut seamers, and you need pace. You need some pace. There's no point bowling medium pace because they just tonk you. You either, I think Azhar was alluding to there, you either bowl good aggressive short bowling, whether it's at his front shoulder or in under the armpit. If he gets you a top edge, so what? That's the way it goes. You got a chance deep. But also fast bowlers bowl around the wicket and bowl leg stump Yorkers. There was a perceived weakness in and around that leg stump Yorker when bowling around the wicket. So it's very difficult because when you bowl to Dre Russ, your margins are so small. If you get it wrong by 3-4 inches, it's out of the ground. So whereas a normal batter, inverted commas, you probably have an area a lot greater to miss your mark, but not with Dre Russ. And when you're batting with Dre Russ, just give him a single. That's all Sam Billings did. Just give him a single, get off strike, and let Dre Russ do his thing. So nice to see him play well, because obviously a couple of games ago we were a bit worried. Dre Russ was hobbling around the pitch and, he was grabbing his shoulder, and we all thought, has he got an injury here? But nice to see him fitting well.
Yeah, I love how you said normal batters. So clearly he's not what I mean. It's a league apart, isn't he? So let's take a look at our numbers tracker. Okay, let's discuss one of our greatest players, Rohit. Without a doubt, one of the best batsmen we have. We love him, but we have to address this. Maybe not up to mark at the moment. Sir, if you can discuss him a little bit for us, and Niall, I'll also get your input as well.
Well, I think with Rohit Sharma, he has to score runs, and there is no second thing about it. Because if he doesn't score runs, Mumbai is, always had problems. Because he's one player who always, whenever he gets in almost till 18, 19 overs, or sometimes he finishes the game. So I think if you see his record in the last 10 matches, I think he hasn't scored a 50, and I think his strike rate also has come down. But I think it's just one of those things, where he has to go there and stay at the wicket, because there will be a lot of pressure on him to play well, because he's the captain, he's the number one player. You're always under pressure to perform all the time. So I think, the most important thing is that he has to get in and then at least, I mean, try and play 2-3 overs. Even if he doesn't get many runs, but he has such a wide range of strokes. He can always cover it up. Because I mean, I always feel that outstanding player. But I think in the last 10 or 15 games, he's not done justice to his talent. But hopefully, he might start from today.
Okay, fair enough. Now, do you think Kolkata might start with Naran? Because Naran has, I mean, Rohit has kind of struggled a little bit with him. So do you
Yeah.
think that will be how they might place him?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, they'd be well advised to start with one of their. They've got two options, really, Kolkata. They've got Sunil Narine, who's got a great record, as you can see, against Rohit Sharma. The strike rate poor. There's plenty of dismissals in there and not a great outlay of runs. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sunil Narine takes the new ball. He has done that to great effect all around the world over the last kind of 10 or 15 years in franchise cricket. They've also got Chakravarti they can try. He's a bit of a mystery spinner, although, as an ex-batter, when you're up against somebody who has the better of you, you don't really want to face them that early. So the chance to get Narine bowling against Rohit Sharma when maybe he's a little bit tentative, trying to find his way back into form. As I said, maybe Rohit may try and take a couple of overs here. He might try and take 2 or 3 overs to get himself in a bit of a nick. So that's straight away Kolkata can say, right, we've got a chance to take the trump card in Rohit Sharma when he's a little bit tentative, but also get a couple of tight overs and get Mumbai behind the 8 ball. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sunil Narine takes the new ball.
Okay. We've also had some news that there's going to be a fresh pitch today in Pune with live grass. So how much of a difference will that make, Azhar sir?
Well, I think definitely it's going to make a big difference, because I think the players are not very accustomed to playing on wickets which has grass. If you see even in the international level, with players, where the ball is moving, where the ball is seaming. I mean, most of the countries have found it very difficult. So since they've gotten so used to playing on wickets, a flat wicket where you just put your front foot forward and tong the ball. But I think it's going to be a tough game if as what you're saying, if the wicket is going to have some little grass, there's going to be movement with the white ball, the ball does move. I mean, if we have, a little bit of grass on it, so I think it's going to move. So I think if the wicket is like that, I don't think it's going to be a very big scoring match. I mean, that's what I feel. I mean, because the bowlers are good, even with Umesh Yadav, he's really doing very well, and then with Pat coming back. So I think definitely KKR team has an edge here, and then I think they're going to exploit the conditions more than the Mumbai team, because I think Mumbai, except Mumra, I don't think they have somebody who can really hit the deck.
Okay. So we have a little announcement. Rasik Salam to make his debut for Kolkata, and now we're just going to take a look at our fantasy tracker, which has been selected by Niall. So let's take a look. That's your team that you've selected, which will be on screen right now. Let's go, Niall.
Yeah, obviously my favorite part of the day. Ishan Kishan is in great form. Rahane was one for me. I kind of deliberated about whether I'd pick Rahane. He's obviously opening the batting for Kolkata, but can't open for me. He's going to slide in at 3. Nice to see Sky back, Suryakumar Yadav back and fit. And Tilak Varma, he's been a real find. Played nicely so far in the tournament. And then we got the powerhouse of West Indian, Dre Russ, and the guile of Narine. I've gone for Southey. I just think he's had a good game. He's had a good performance so far. He may miss out with Cummins back available. He may miss out. And Bumrah, for me, he needs to fire. He's had a difficult couple of games so far. Probably not got the support he's had in the past. But Umesh Yadav, he has been a revelation for Kolkata. So I'm happy to have him on my side. He's bowling with good pace. He's a new ball bowler. He didn't bowl as well at the death, but big threat with a new ball in his hand.
Azhar, would you have made any changes, or what would you have changed the team a bit? Would you have picked Ishan Kishan number 1?
Well, I think, I mean, he's a top player. He's been paid so much money. Actually, he's went very handsomely. So I think we need a handsome performance from him as well. Because I think I mean, he's done well. He's got a 80 in the game. But I'm sure he's a very talented player. But I would definitely pick him. Because he's one player. If he gets going, I mean, it's very hard to stop him because he's got strokes, all over.
Batted slowly, Azhar batted slowly the last game though. Remember Ishan
Yeah,
Kishan?
I know. Yeah, he batted slowly, but that's what I meant. If you get to that start, even if you bat slowly, I mean, then you have to carry on till the end, because there's no point getting out. Because if you see, Nile, in the last game, Butler and Admire, in 2 overs they scored 42 runs. It's because they are the batsmen. They are batsmen who are playing in those overs, and they're very set batsmen. If you see 50, Butler is batting, he got to 70, and then Hetmeyer also. But then if the tailenders are playing in the last 4 or 5 overs, then we are not going to win the matches. So that's what I feel. I always feel that as a batsman, when you are in, you have to take the team.
Yep. We have the toss update. Kolkata won the toss and they have chosen to bowl. However, in Pune, both the teams that have actually chosen to bat first, I think they're the ones that won. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this now? Who batted first, basically?
Yeah, listen. Well, it is evening itself out now, which is great. I've no problem bowling first, especially if, as you've alluded to, there is a fresh pitch with live grass. Kolkata will want to make use of that, and obviously chase this evening. There wasn't a great deal of dew when I went to Pune last week, so I've no problem with that. It's the done thing. Take conditions out of it, dew, wicket, pitch, whatever. Generally, teams like to chase. They like to know what they're going to chase down, as opposed to setting a score. So no real surprise. But for Mumbai, they've got a good enough team. They can definitely put a score on the board and defend it. My big issue for Mumbai, as I've said already, is the bowling. And now the bowlers who are already under pressure are going to be under even more pressure, because they're going to be bowling second, trying to defend.
Also,
I
now
think
we have.
they are also. I think they are also
Yes?
over dependent on Bumrah.
What do you
Well,
think so?
God forbid, if something happens to him, if he has an injury, then they'll find it very difficult.
Yeah, I would agree. They've signed Daniel Sams, as I said in the auction.
Yeah, but as you said, he's not a good bowler.
Yeah, his bowling's I think leaves a lot to be desired. He's a good batter. He's a good cricketer. Don't get me wrong. He's a good cricketer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Tyrmel Mills bowls 90 mile an hour, 145 Ks, but generally bowls a lot of slower balls. If the surface is brand new with live grass, you want someone maybe to pitch the ball up, maybe see if there's a swing, or see if there's a nibble off the seam. Big Tyrmel Mills isn't that kind of bowler, but he is an effective bowler. Mumbai haven't got the spinners really either. You think of historically Mumbai down the years, they've always had great spin. The Harbhajan Singh for a long time playing for Mumbai. Even Krunal Pandya, for example, not a big spinner of the ball, but he was always there to give support. So it's an area they're a little bit lacking as well, I think.
Okay, so we have a quick announcement. Dewald Brevis to make his debut for Mumbai. He was the leading run scorer at Under-19 World Cup. Now, can you talk about him a little bit to us?
Yeah, he is incredible. I was lucky enough to be in the Caribbean for 5 weeks working on that tournament. They call him the baby AB, and it's pretty simple why. He bats exactly like AB de Villiers. It is a carbon copy of AB de Villiers. Same stance, same follow through, same power. He is a remarkably strong young man. When I was in Trinidad back end of January, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. I went down to do some gym and just do some running, and he was in there lifting weights at 6 a.m. He had a game at 10:30 that day. So he had a game in 4.5 hours, and he was in lifting weights. So this kid is focused, a lovely, respectful young man out of South Africa. AB's his hero. AB's his mentor. Mumbai went for him big, and I presume with one eye in the future, Mumbai said he might not get much game time this year, but in 2 or 3 years' time, we could have the next AB de Villiers. So we'll splash the cash. And a great opportunity. I'm looking forward to watching him play. He's got all the shots in the book.
Are you excited about this?
Yeah, I'm very excited because I haven't seen him play. How Nile described him, I mean, it's like, I could imagine, David AB de Villiers batting, but I'm sure he has seen him bat. I haven't seen him bat, but I think if he's carbon copy of de Villiers, so I don't think IPL will miss another de Villiers.
That's definitely going to be.
They'll probably get a first ball duck now. I've talked them up.
There's a lot
It
of
happens
pressure
at
on this
times.
kid that he has to receive. Okay, are we going to take a look at our social tracker? Yep. Pat Cummings is going to be playing, and that is definitely the update that we have for Team Saudi, and that's the latest update that we have. And now let's take a look at our tweet, shall we? So on our social tracker. So let's take a look at our first tweet. This is for Dilip Venksaker, as it's his birthday, and I know, Azurji, you have had a chance to play with him, and a majestic 100 for Bombay as a teenager, so there's quite a lot of things for him, so that's a cute little tweet. Well, how's your experience been when you've had the chance to, play a game with him?
No, I think he's an absolute legend. He was my captain, and then after that, he played under me. I think Diliba has always been a great player. The nucleus of the batting in the 70s and the 80s. And I think it's for someone to score 300s at Lords. Like on three different tours. There's an outstanding effort, and the 100 he scored in '86 at Headingley. The ball was moving, and everybody was struggling. So he went on and scored 118. He's an outstanding player, a great player. I admired him a lot. Like when I first got selected. We had every player in the Indian team was a stalwart. So I think I was really lucky to have these people around me. I got a lot of advice from him, learned a lot from him, seeing batting and how he, got along. Over a period of time. And I think outstanding player. He's got outstanding hundreds against the West Indies also. But I wish him the very best on his birthday today, and may he live a very long and healthy life.
Absolutely. Happy birthday to him. Let's take a look at our next tweet. And this is for Surya Kumar Yadav is gearing up to return to MI. So that's going to be very interesting. He's back. Can he inspire Mumbai today, Niall?
Yeah, 100%. This guy is he's a showstopper. Really, he lights up the room when he walks to the crease. He goes from ball one, which actually is something that Mumbai really need. He's obviously got excellent numbers. Strike rate's very good, 135 and 1350s. 1350s in 115 matches is pretty good. Average just under 29. So his numbers are excellent, but most importantly, he tends to go from ball one. He's the kind of batter that is happy to try and hit a six first ball. Whereas at the moment, Mumbai a little bit tentative, potentially in that middle order. So he can just come out and maybe just get on with it and set the innings up. Someone needs to set the innings up for the likes of Pollard or, down the back end to try and put the icing on the cake. So nice to see him back. He's had a brilliant couple of years, really earning himself that India call up and getting his India cap. So nice to see him back. Talented player. Very watchable. That's what this tournament is all about. Watching players that are, entertainers, and he's certainly one.
Azurji, let's talk about what are your thoughts on Surya Kumar Yadav returning to?
No, I think he's a great player, because he's a very busy player, as you can say that, he doesn't, as Nehal said, he doesn't wait for, he doesn't block, whether it's first ball or second ball. If the ball is there to hit, he will hit. I think Mumbai, are strengthened by him coming back into the side, because I think Tilak Verma also is all there. He played very well. But I think with the advent of Surya Kumar Yadav in the team, the Mumbai team looks, batting wise, it looks very good.
Okay, let's take a look at our last tweet, shall we? So here, Dinesh Karthik, he's not done yet, says Dinesh Karthik. Well, that was that's a very cool photograph, actually. So that, ladies and gents, was our wonderful social tracker. So now let's talk about our third game in Pune that we have happening today. Like we discussed earlier, teams that were batting first have won both games. And we also discussed that update on the toss, which we've also done. Is form of Venkatesh Iyer a concern at the top for Kolkata? Let's start with that question, Sergi.
I mean, Venkatesh, I mean, he really did well in the last IPL, but I think, you have to keep performing consistently, because, I mean, you have done
Yes.
well, you have got a name for it. And then now, I mean, this is a very good chance for him, to get into the Indian side, because if he keeps performing, he's an all-rounder, actually, that's it, because, I mean, he's played so well in the last IPL, but I think there's a lot of pressure on him to do well. So when you play so well in your first outing, then there's always pressure to perform well, because if you the problem what is happening is because he's trying very hard. You just have to go out there and enjoy the game. Because if you start enjoying the game,
Yeah.
then only you play well. Because then sometimes when with pressure, you tend to hold on to your natural instincts, your natural abilities. The moment you hold on to your natural abilities, you try to do something different, and then that's why you get out. That's why you
Yeah.
don't perform.
Yeah.
So hopefully, it's an exciting talent, but as I've said, there has to be a consistency.
Absolutely. Now, he was batting down in the order also for India. Is that a cause of concern? Or, like Sir just said, if it's not broken, why fix it? If he's, the way he is, it might be working well for him.
Oh, listen, he's just had a bit of a quiet start. I wouldn't be too concerned. I think he's a talented lad. He seems to be pretty level-headed. Just speaking to people in and around the camp. I don't see this slump, and it's still quite early to call it slump. They're only 2 or 3 games into the tournament, so I think he'll be fine. But as Azza rightly says, when you have such a good season, expectation levels go up so high, so everyone just starts expecting every single game you got to get runs. And it doesn't always work out like that. And also, sometimes you can be a victim of your own success because he played so well, because he spent so much time in the middle. All the opposition now will be focusing on areas maybe to try and prize him out, whereas he probably went a little bit under the radar because maybe teams were focusing on other batters. But now everyone knows that he is probably one of the key wickets. So they're probably giving a little bit more time and attention with the analysts and with the bowling coaches to try and figure out how best to get him out. So sometimes you can be a victim of your own success. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. If he goes another couple of games without scoring, well, then it probably will be an issue. But at the moment, he's all right.
Absolutely. What should be Mumbai's strategy in combating, Chakravarti and Narayan in today's game, sir?
Well, I mean, they have to play according to the game, because Narayan and Chakravarti, I think they just called him a mystery bowler. I don't know. I mean, what is that mystery word? I really can't understand. But I think just a normal bowler, you have to just play the way you play normally, because I think Rohit Sharma doesn't have a good record with Shivnaran as we discussed in the beginning. So maybe if he can bowl in the beginning overs, then there is a chance that he might get Rohit Sharma out. But I think, as I've said, I mean, when you play at this level, I mean, all the players, they know their, I mean, game very well. They know what to do when. But it's just that, the time has to be right, And I think, hopefully, with Rohit Sharma, I mean, if Rohit Sharma gets going, I think that if they get a big score, then Mumbai can even think, I mean, of having a chance to, I mean, win the game. But I think if they score, if they don't score many runs, they find it very difficult.
Absolutely. Now it's time for some fun. Let's take a look at our trivia tracker. Okay, so this is my favorite, part of the show. Let's take a look at this. You will see a match summary. You both need to identify which player is missing in both of these teams.
Sunil Narine.
One
8.
player.
Yeah, I'll say Sunil Narine.
He's not playing
This is trivia. Who is missing here?
in this team.
Yeah. Yeah. He picked up 2 wickets and he made 80 with the bat.
Oh, 2 wickets in
Ray Ross.
Russell.
Yep. Let's
Russell.
bring the answer.
Russell.
Woo!
Lovely.
Andre
Both of us said Russell. I mean, Nile was first. He before me.
No.
I'm a bit slow.
Okay, let's take let's take a look at the next question. Who is the only player in the current Mumbai squad to take a hat-trick in the Indian T20 League?
Mumbai squad.
Bumrah.
Indians. Oh, Indian squad.
Yes. In the Mumbai squad.
Yeah, Mumbai
In
squad.
the Mumbai squad. Who's the one?
In the squad.
Who's
Okay,
taking
so
a hat-trick?
only players, no coaches.
You guys are yes.
Only
You
players.
gave them the
Malinga.
no.
No, he's not there.
This
He's with
is
Rajasthan.
This I'm gonna surprise you. Let's take a look.
Let's have. Let me.
Woo!
What?
There we go, Rohit Sharma.
Wow. That's long back.
He took it in 2009 against Mumbai.
They won it. They won it that year.
It
Didn't
was,
they?
yeah.
They won
There you
it.
go. You learn something new every day.
I can't believe what. Sorry, just educate me here. What does Rohit Sharma bowl?
Yeah. All spin.
Off.
Off spin.
Yeah.
I cannot remember seeing Rohit Sharma bowl one ball in my entire life.
Sometimes it works.
Do we have
Hat-trick.
last one?
2009.
Take a look.
Long back.
This one should be easy. Whose autobiography is titled "Playing It My Way"?
Ooh, playing it my way. Someone from this. Brendan McCullum. No.
De Villiers.
You've played with him, Azurji.
I've played with him.
Robin Singh.
Ravi Shastri.
No. No. I got- It is the answer.
Thank you.
Sachin
Oh.
Tendulkar.
Sachin.
Oh
I've
my
got the book.
lord.
I reckon I've got his book here as well. I've read his book.
Mentor of mine.
Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on. I've got it.
He's got the book.
Look. I've got it here. I actually
so
read this.
funny.
I read this. I read this.
He's read it.
I read on a tour to India a few years ago. I must say, Sachin, there's a few too many pages on here. There's about 500 pages. And there's not enough pictures for me. There's too much words, not enough pictures. But I've got the book, Sachin, the legend.
Well, at least you. Okay, before I let you both go, let's just our final thoughts on both the teams and who you think has the upper hand, if I may say. Yeah,
Me?
Sergi, of course. Yep.
I think KKR.
Okay.
So
Kolkata.
Kolkata. Yeah.
Okay. Niall.
Yeah, very tough one, really. You know, a couple of changes. Obviously, good to see Brevis get a go and Sky back in from Mumbai. Pat Cummins in for Kolkata obviously strengthens them. Well, a couple of days ago, I went for Chennai because I said I can't see Chennai losing 3 in a row. They did lose 3 in a row. So I'm going to go for Mumbai because I can't see Mumbai losing 3 in a row. So I'll go against Hyderabad.
Hopefully, third time will be a charm. So let's take a look at our quick poll before I let you both go. Did Mumbai not strengthen their bowling attack enough for the auction? People agree.
80%.
People agree.
Yeah, I agree.
There we go. The people have spoken. I will see both you gentlemen at the end of the game. And please do join us, ladies and gentlemen. Sky247.net presents Not Just Cricket. See you in a bit.
Thank you.
Bye.